All right. So, welcome to episode 4 of Your Yes is Needed. And the purpose of and understanding the power of your yes is that with every yes that you say yes to is the outcome of circumstances and situations, as I have learned throughout my life. And so when I was extremely overweight and a professional alcoholic, as I say it, I needed to agree and say yes to it for my situation and my circumstances to be in a lot of dead end places. And so, and nothing, nothing kept that yes solid and feed that yes, but pride and ego. So when I finally mastered every dead end, and oh, I meant that. Like, I think the reason why I was so hard headed is because I mastered every dead end and every area. It was because I I just knew there was another way. I'll figure it out. There was another way. And it wasn't. So until I gave up and surrendered, and even with all the obvious miracle signs and wonders that were following me, I was like, this is not it. I'm not opening that door. But I want to talk about discovery today because this with the discovery I found more of me. And what I mean by that is that I'm a big believer that when you open the right door, and maybe it's a door that you don't want to open, but when you open the right door and you walk in it, you're eventually going to find the reason what's holding you back, whether it's your back, physical, or your knees, or your legs, or your feet. There's something that's holding you back. And a lot of people are like, oh, like, no, that's not what my doctor said. I was 100% that person. I was one of those people. I'm laughing now because I'm about to share the story with you that made me laugh. In fact, I'll share it now. So I was such in denial, and I hopped on that. The doctors ain't. I don't know why the doctors can't figure out. So I go to the VA, and so one of the questions they ask you is, "How many drinks do you have a month?" And I'll be like, "Oh, like 2." And so knowing damn well I had about 50. And so I'm like, "Oh, okay." So this one appointment got me real good. And so I would go to my appointment and I was having memory loss. Like I dealt with a lot of numbers at work, and even the numbers didn't make sense to me. And I was typing numbers and it was like coming differently. Like I had a hard time remembering. Like I was having memory loss. It got bad. So I freaked out. And so I said, okay, maybe I need an MRI. I think I need to see a neurologist. So I went to go see a neurologist. And so this assistant who was very, very nice, she wanted to help me so bad that she left the room and she came back with all these books and she went through all the pages trying to help me. And this is like years ago. And I remember detailed what happened. And she was going through all the pages. And I was like, man, um, I'm I feel bad. I need to tell you the truth. I drink about like a bottle a day. And she had the answer right away. She was like, so blah 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 blah. What the alcohol does to to your brain is like it keeps you awake. See, a lot of people think that a glass of wine or a beer is going to put them to sleep, and but in reality, is the alcohol keeps your brain wide awake while you're passed out and sleeping, and so you're extremely exhausted when you wake up. And I was like, that makes so much sense. So I started tripping. So I was like, wait, so the reason why I have memory loss is because I'm not getting enough sleep. And she was like, you're not getting enough sleep because you are drinking so much that your brain is actually awake while you're sleeping. So that's why you have insomnia. That's why you have memory loss. That's why you can't concentrate. And that's why you have ADHD. And that's why you have ADD. And this is why that you have a hard time reading. And this is, so I was like, oh, okay. Like, so I'm tripping. Wow, that's messed up. And so I went, the next doctor came in and he was like, so I see you're a very heavy drinker. You're going to have to make a lifetime change. I was like, oh, I'm getting really uncomfortable in the room. Like, this is embarrassing. Like, wow, like, you're telling me about my health. This is like, can we talk about something else? Like, yeah, I'm at the doctor's office, but still. And so he was like, you need to make a lifetime change, a lifestyle change. I was like, oh, we can offer you gastric surgery, gastric bypass surgery. And I was like, this mofo just called me fat. Wait, are you calling me fat? Are you offering me gastric? Now, keep in mind, I'm about 300 pounds, right? Like, feet hurt, back hurt, knees hurt, can't sleep. I have a terrible diet. I'm eating fast food 3 times a day. I'm drinking a bottle of liquor every single day. And then I'm like, how dare you call me fat? I was so offended. It's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. So I was like, okay. So um I was just like, okay, all right. So obviously I didn't learn nothing. So I walked away, still drinking, still eating, no lifestyle change. But that carried me with me everywhere I go. Obviously I still remember it all these years later. And so what it showed me was that even knowing the answer, I still did not want to hear the answer. And so what I learned in camp and what I learned as a coach and what I learned as an athlete is that we are actually surrounded by answers, but we don't like the answer. I'm guilty of it. I mean, this man is offering me something to help change my lifestyle, and I'm just offended because I'm assuming that he called me fat. So it was my interpretation from my coming from my insecurities, speaking to his, yeah, I don't want help. And so at camp, there are certain things I can see. There are certain things that are presented to me. And so I can give someone a set of instructions and they'll be like, that's not it. I was like, you're right. So, but the thing is, you have to come to my camp to ask for help. And the answer will be there. But most of the time, you're not going to like the answer. And so, one of the things I've learned within myself is that with I have to open doors that have been closed. In the beginning, is very uncomfortable. So recently, I finally feel fine after being sick for almost 8 days. And I don't get sick. Okay. I know something snuck in. And so I was digging and digging, and it was bothering me because to me, I'll share my thought process. To me, I have a lot going on. I work 8 hours, I run a camp, I coach, I train, I write a book, I do podcasts, I'm reading, I'm studying. And so one of the things that was brought to my attention was like, if you want more, then you have to adjust here. So currently I'm listening to a audiobook by Tony Robbins, Life Force. And Tony Robbins burns 11,000 calories after one of his events. 11,000. An average person just working out, heavy, sweating from 1,000, 3,000 is the max, which that's the pretty much when I was heavier, I was able to burn almost 3,000. And like now I work out 3 hours a day. I train at 3 hours a day and I barely reach 1,000. And so for someone to burn 11,000 calories, that's just insane to me. And so I was like, holy smokes. But then he followed it up with, in order for me to live this life, doing what I love, helping the people that I love to help, I need to adjust my life here. And I was like, so as I'm blowing my nose and I'm sick, and I'm like, man, his words keep going in my mind. I said, okay, so what did I do wrong? And every time you ask a question that involves self growth, you always get your answer 24 hours later, all the time. You just have to ask the right questions. And I can promise you, you're not going to like the answer. So most of the time, you probably did ask, and you're like, nah, that ain't it. My new reaction to everything, just thumbs up. You're right. So, so I kept hearing, if you want to be able to compete and be a coach, you're going to have to adjust your life here. And I'm thinking, good God, I've adjusted my whole entire life. Like, well, what more do you want from me? So after we compete, we kind of go all out. Okay. So we kind of like, we go all out. And as much as I love going all out after I finish competing, if I'm going to coach, I have to still make the adjustments and the more sacrifices to be able to do what I want to do. There's 3 questions that you should always ask yourself, which I'll be preaching this Sunday at my church in Indiana. 3 questions you want to ask yourself. Are you capable? The answer is yes. Okay. It says, the Bible says that we can do all things through Christ that strengthens us. Are you capable? The answer is yes. Do you want to? That's man's will. Just say no. Just say no. Don't even give excuses. Don't even say, oh, blah, don't, just say no. The faster you say no, the faster you're going to ask yourself, why? Why don't you want to? Because I don't feel like it. There we go. Finally being honest with yourself. But if you say yes, sweet. And then eventually you're going to be cornered as things start getting tough, as things start getting rough, as things start going to get harder. Then you're asked the last and final question, what do you want? And that's what's going to keep you going. Discipline is hard. This is why I encourage everyone to join some type of team or do some kind of competition or train. Discipline is hard. Don't ever assume that training is easy. Just because we have abs doesn't mean nothing. It's a lot of work to want to continue when you know that you technically don't have to. So 3 questions. Are you capable? Automatic yes. Now, do you want to? And if you say no, then you're always going to be in stage 1. Am I capable? Am I capable to get up in the morning? Am I capable to cook? Am I capable to go grocery shopping? Am I capable to work out? Am I capable to read? And I love when people be like, but Desi, like, oh my God, like I can't read. But they're on Instagram reading every caption. They're on Facebook reading. And I'm like, holy shit, look at you. You're reading. Holy cow. Nah, that is different. No. Cut the crap. Are you capable? Yes. Do you want to read a book? The answer is no. Just say it, boo boo. Just say it. The answer is no. I don't want to read. That's it. And then why don't you want to read? Because I'm bored. I don't feel like it. I fall asleep. I don't want to be dedicated. Okay, now we're finding the reasons for why you cannot pass step 2. Okay. So can you read? The answer is yes. Do you want to? The answer is no. All right, then. Let's start there. As soon as you confront yourself with all the bull crap, the faster you'll get there. The faster. But if you entertain reasons why you can't do something, you're only going to be at phase 1 for a very, very long time. Are you capable? Yes. Yes, you are. Do you want to? Oh, that's man's will. Someone told me something a while ago. He's like, do you know? It took me 10 years to prove that he was right. He was like, do you know that man's will is so strong that not even God can stop it. And I was like, yeah, right. No, he was right. That's powerful. Imagine that your will, your decisions, your choices, your yes is so powerful that no one can stop it. That is mind blowing to me. It took a long time to understand that revelation, but it was mind blowing to me. So, whatever you say yes to is the outcome of your circumstances and situation. It's very, very rare that some things are out of your hands. There is. It's a very small percentage, but most of it is in your hands. And a lot of it, a lot of people think they have very rare cases. Open that door. Open that door to your childhood trauma. Open that door to past relationships trauma. Open that door to parent trauma. Open that door to things that kept you stuck or made you do a detour or made you do something that you were not proud of or made you do something that caused you to closet eat. Open that door. And so I'm going to tell you a revelation that I had. It's pretty gross, but it was pretty deep. So in my book, I talked about how I can't believe I get so much revelation from this what I'm about to tell you. So I live in a city and the camp is located in the basement. Okay. And during the pandemic, when all these restaurants that are nearby and local shut down, these rats needed a home. I didn't know that. It actually made the newspaper. And I was like, holy smoke. And I didn't know much about rats. I thought it was like one bounce. I didn't know they were the top 5 smartest species in the world. I didn't know that. I didn't know that they ran in packs. I mean, yeah, I heard of rat packs, but I didn't believe it until like it invaded me or the camp. And so how the camp is set up, it's like it's like long and then like an L, right? And you go up the stairs and I put a door right there to the side just as decoration. But behind that door is a space that goes behind the stairs. And I just use that storage and I just hide it behind this whiteboard, right? So the rats like to hang out back there. And I was like, you know what? If I just leave them alone, they leave me alone. And it appeared that it worked until I was told, you leave them alone, they're always going to be there and bring more. I was like, oh my God, you're kidding me. And I'm getting like massive revelation as this guy. And I keep in mind, this is the third exterminator or terminator that came to get rid of these rats because they would not go away. I put traps everywhere. And these mofos were like, come on, this is the spot. And here I am was like, hey, as long as they're back there, they don't bother me, I ain't gonna bother them. But they was bringing their cousins, their exes, the baby mamas. They were bringing people they didn't even like. They're like, yo, this is the spot because no one bothers us here. And that was my fault because I didn't want to go back there. So, and it's dark back there. So it's kind of scary. So when we opened the door, I was like, oh, I'm scared, like it's kind of dark. I don't want to peep my head around the corner. So I go back there with the flashlight and I see like all this stuff there. I was like, oh my God. And I was like, man, this is what I get for not stepping into my own space. And because I did not step into my own space, I allowed so much crap to grow. And that's how closed doors look like. So we'd be like, I don't want to go there. And we think that eventually it will go away. But in reality, it just grew heavier root. And heavy root affects us physically. And then when they affect us physically, we want a doctor to figure out why suddenly we're in pain, why suddenly we're deteriorating, why suddenly all this is happening, when in reality, you just have a lot of unforgiveness inside of you. When in reality, you have a lot of disobedience inside of you. When in reality, you just have a lot of closed doors inside of you. And you just have to open doors so that you can clean it up and be a little more free. And believe it or not, we cleaned it up and we set poison there so that they know and everyone else know, this ain't the place to be. So you have to put poison in things that took root so that you're not attracting the people that look like your exes. You're not attracting the people that continue hurting you, so that you're not attracting the people that has a history of all the other people that hurt you. So I love hearing when people say like, man, it sucks being an empath. Like I can feel everything. Yeah, it's called hurt, duh. Like what? Stop trying to justify what an empath is. I'm very empathetic. I'm very passionate. But I ain't a fucking fool. I tell you that right now. I'm not a sucker. So anyone that tells you that you're supposed to be a sucker, they're full of shit. All right, let's not entertain that stuff. You can be dope, cool, empathetic, full of life, full of love, peaceful, and help a shit ton of people and still say no and definitely be okay with it. You can still protect your space and still be okay with it. In fact, I cussed some motherfuckers out this morning in my stories. I said, listen, just because you don't believe something does not mean that you can take it out on me. Like, no, I protect this energy. I put a life insurance policy on this heart. This heart is protected. I know better. In one of my chapters in Furious is Needed, I talked about, oh man, what chapter is that? The 3 types, chapter 21. There's 3 types of people that love using empaths. Love it. And if you don't know these 3 types of people, then, or maybe you are one of these 3 types of people, then it's your fault. Because you don't want to go back to that dark space and clean up or put poison. So there's 3 types of people. The dump truck, okay? Some people only want you available to be dumped on. Dumping all their problems on you when you're not available for their offloading of emotions. You have become selfish for not being available to be dumped on. That is the dump truck. The second person, the fire hydrant. You are pissed on. When you are having a hard time wondering why you're still single, ask yourself, who keeps coming back in the picture? Maybe you don't even know or overlooking this every day. However, when you have been marked, AKA pissed on by an ex, family member, or by someone who desires to be with you, their level of energy has made it known that you are going nowhere, boo-boo. There is always outside business that has made it their business to keep them in business, and you are their business. That is the fire hydrant. And you're like, am I pissed on? Yo, hey, who pissed on me? You better go check. Go wash down. The last person called the gas station. When you're available for everybody, anytime, anywhere, people come to you to take, and you're like, pour, and you get nothing in return until it's time to be refilled. And then you refill, and here comes the cars, AKA the people that love using you again to take, and you're available to them to pour. And then when you feel empty, no one comes around because you're empty, boo-boo. You don't have nothing to offer. And so you feel empty, no one comes around, and you physically and mentally feel drained. Suddenly, when you start applying self-care, going back to the gym, feeling good about yourself, doing all these things to get back on your feet. Suddenly, here comes the cars again. So figure out which one you are, but stop using the word empath to allow people to run you over you or to run over you. This whole I wear my heart on my sleeve, that's such crap. Enough with the crap. All right. You can still be empathetic, dope, and say no, even though it's your yes is needed, not in this situation. So it took a long time to build this type of confidence. And because I got there, I have to protect it. And I got my butt whooped. There's a reason why it's called Camp Fitzgerald. And there's a chapter in that book that explains why I named my own space after someone else. It's not my name is nowhere in that camp. And it's because it's not about me. When he gave me everything that meant to him, I was like, holy smokes, I have faith in humanity again. And that's the only reason why I started opening up, because I was all three of them at one point. And then when I realized, man, I'm only feeding my insecurities. I'm only feeding my need to feel wanted. I'm only feeding my need to feel important. And that's the wrong approach. So find out what door you have closed. I promise you it's going to suck in the beginning. However, after a few doors, you're going to want to find more. I'm addicted to it. I always say, I do not like the answer, but I love the process. I love the outcome. I don't like the process, but I love where I'm at right now. And I realized, like, man, everything I learned, every book that I have read, I've already read it already without reading it. Meaning that by the time I got to this book, it only validated what I already knew from opening those doors. Like you become so intelligent, so emotionally intelligent from opening those doors that you would want to open more. So don't be afraid of it. Don't be confused by it. And the last part, you're going to have to do it by yourself. Because if you try to get everyone else's advice from people who have not opened doors, they will mislead you. Thank you for listening. Have a good night, everyone.